In this video, I'm going to teach you how to complete 3 different types of documentation. We're going to complete an intake and an elimination. We're going to complete a Menses log, and we're also going to complete seizure documentation. Each one of these types of documents are under Health. So from your dashboard, on the left-hand side, you're going to click on your Health tab. Not every individual that you support will have intake and elimination charts, Menses charts, or seizure logs. But if they do, then you do need to document on each of these, each shift, as outlined in your individualized support plan. Let's start with the intake and elimination. What you're going to do is once you've selected your Health tab, you're going to scroll down to the document for which you want to document on. Here is intake and elimination, and I'm going to click on New. I'm going to enter the person's name. I'm going to enter the correct program. I'm going to make sure that my date is correct, and I'm going to click Submit. Once I have done that, I need to scroll down, and you'll notice the first section is a comment section. It has the individual's name and the date listed on there. Your supervisor will let you know what you need to document under the comment section for the individual you're supporting when it comes to intake and elimination. It can be different for each individual. It just depends on what information they're trying to capture. So if you do need to include a comment, you're going to come to the comment section, and just like you do in your daily documentation, click in the box and write your narrative. Once you've written your narrative, you're going to click Add. What you will notice is that my comment has now become a part of the documentation. It also shows previous comments that other coworkers have written or that I've written in regards to this person's intake and elimination. I'm then going to scroll down to the elimination and intake chart itself. And what you're going to notice down here is I cannot click in any of these boxes to add data. In order to add data to the elimination and intake chart, I need to select the option for Add Intake and Elimination Entry. Once I click on that, a new box will appear that's now going to allow me to enter in my data. I want to start over here with time, and I will enter in the time for which I am recording. And for this example, I'm going to select 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I then need to figure out how much fluid the person took in, and I will document a number in here. You will be trained on this, so for this example, I'll just show you how this works. I just enter in numbers. I come over here to fluid type, and I select the drop-down menu, and then I can click on whichever applies. Percentage of meal eaten, again, I enter in numbers. Calorie intake, I'm entering in numbers. Number of fluid voids, so how many times did the person urinate? I'm entering a number there. The amount then goes here. And then I need to track bowel movements. Did the person have a bowel movement during this shift? If I select 1, then I need to document some additional information. If the person had none, then I can skip bowel type, bowel amount, and blood in bowel. We're going to pretend that the person had 1, so now I do need to indicate what type it was. So here I'm going to write that it was normal. Bowel movement amount, we'll say it was small. There was no blood in the urine, and again, to indicate this, I'm just simply clicking in whichever option applies. Scroll over. Sometimes you may have to assist with bowel aids. If that's the case, click your drop-down menu and select the one that you aided with. You will be given training on what emesis is, and then you will check for blood or no blood in the emesis, and then make sure that your name is here as the reporter. Once you've put in all of that information, you're then going to scroll down, and you're going to select Submit. And that is how we complete intake and elimination documentation. Next, I'm going to show you how to track Menses. What you are going to do is from your dashboard, again, come to your Health tab. You're going to scroll down until you find the document for which you want to use. And here's Menses. I'm going to select New. Again, I'm going to enter in the person's name, the program. I'm going to make sure that my name is here by the option that says entered by. If someone else reported it, then you would select their name, but because I'm the one that's reporting it, my name stays here. I need to make sure that my date is correct, and then my notification level is typically going to be low with Menses. Unless it's something extraordinarily out of the ordinary, then I may select medium. If the person needed to go to the emergency room due to a Menses problem, then that's going to be high. Once I've completed that section, I'm going to scroll down to section 2. And here I'm going to indicate, was this a day without Menses or was this not a day without Menses? You want to think of this backwards. So did the person have their Menses? If they did, this is going to be no. If they didn't, it's going to be yes. If I select the option that yes, this was a day without Menses, I don't really have to do anything else other than make sure that my date is correct. If your supervisor would like comments about the Menses, they're going to provide you with that information, and whatever they want you to document would then go in this comments section. Again, we click in the box and we add our narrative. If I am having a day where the person did have Menses, this is not a day without them, and I select no, then I do have to add some more information. I'm making sure my date is correct. I then have to select the drop-down menu and select whether the bleeding was heavy, light, moderate, or spotting. And then discomfort. Was there any discomfort? And here I have some selections. Once you've finished all of that, you're going to come down and click Submit. And that's how you complete Menses documentation for the individuals you're supporting. The next set of documentation we want to learn is how to document seizure activity. Again, from my dashboard, I would come down to my tab that says Health. I would scroll down until I found the seizure documentation, which is right here, and I'm going to click New. Now, for individuals who have seizures, you have something called a seizure calendar at the site, which is a paper document. The seizure calendar documents how many times per day a person has a seizure or whether or not they've had one. If a person does not have a seizure during your shift, you simply need to go to the seizure calendar and indicate a 0. If the person does have a seizure, then you need to indicate how many times they had a seizure during your shift, and for each seizure, you have to come in and fill out this seizure documentation. So I'm going to find it, click on New. I'm then going to come down and enter the individual's name. Select the appropriate program. Make sure that the entered by is my name. The reported by, if it's me, my name should be there. If it was someone else, I use my drop-down arrow to select them. Make sure the day's date is correct and our notification levels. If it is a run-of-the-mill typical seizure, your notification level will be low. If it was out of the ordinary, then you're going to click on medium. And if the person needed to go to the emergency room, then you're going to click on high. We're going to leave notification level on low for this one. And then going to scroll down to section 2. And in this section, I'm going to be adding information that describes the seizure. So if not at the program site, where did it happen? And it's important to know exactly where it happened. So I have some options. If that doesn't apply, I can click other and I can enter it over here. But we're going to pretend that this happened at the residential program. The time that the seizure began, we're going to say was at 2:20 p.m. The seizure duration, how long did the seizure itself last? And remember on this one, we need to time it down to the second. So for this one, I'm going to pretend it was 1 minute and 3 seconds. Once I've done that, I then need to describe the seizure. And they've done the work for you. All you need to do is click on this Add button. A new screen will appear. You want to maximize that. And you want to just simply check off anything that applies. Make sure that you also indicate breathing. So under respirations, you need to select one of these. And then be sure that you indicate what the person's skin color was like during the seizure itself. Once finished indicating all of that information, you're going to scroll down and you're going to click on Add. This now becomes a part of your document. What you want to do is review this information and make sure it describes the seizure accurately. If it doesn't, you have an option to remove some of the things you added, and then if you need to add more, you can always add more by clicking Add over here. Once you've done that, then you're going to scroll down to behavior after the seizure. You're going to click Add, and you're going to document what was the person doing after the seizure. So after the seizure occurred, was the person irritable? Did they have problems with vision? Were they dizzy, drowsy? So we're going to click on drowsy, and we're going to add that to our document. Once I'm finished with that, I need to indicate the staff's actions. What did I do during the seizure? And I'm going to click Add. New box appears and maximize it. And I'm then going to indicate anything that I did during the time the person was having the seizure. Once I've selected all that apply, I'm then going to click Add. And again, all of this becomes a part of the seizure document. What you want to do is go back and review everything and just make sure that it really captures what was happening during, before, and after the seizure. I'm then going to come down to my factors that happened that may have caused the seizure or may have triggered it, and that information goes here. And so it could be something like playing video games, or very hot outside. You may need to make your best guess on this, and that's fine. Resulting in injuries, if there were no injuries, then you're just simply going to put in none. If the person did have an injury, you would describe the injury here. And then if there is an injury, make sure that you indicate that a GER and a skin wound exists. So notice I wrote CGER and skin wound. Anytime there is an injury, again, we have to complete a GER and we have to complete a skin wound. Even if the injury was a result of a seizure, it's not enough just to indicate it here. I then have a section to write additional comments. If there was something that you really think happened during the seizure that wasn't typical or was out of the ordinary, document it here so that your service coordinator can pass that information along. Once you've finished, you're going to click on Submit, and it is done. Proceed back to your dashboard when you're finished, and then you can go ahead and proceed to the next slide.